Hello, my beautiful ladies. I want you to know that I know that you might be going through a tough time right now. Even though you're putting a really happy face to the world, you're here right now because you have a little struggle going on. I get it. I've been there too. I still get there. So number one, if you're brand new here, subscribe and ring the bell so that you get new content every time I have it created. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. So we're going to talk about getting back to our relationships with ourselves when we have been put through the ringer in another relationship. So you might feel like you're burning on both ends. You might feel like you've been burned by a relationship. You've been betrayed. You've been hurt. You feel like you're burned out from a job, a relationship, whatever. You feel like you're just not yourself. You feel empty. You feel depleted. And I'm going to tell you right now that that is awesome. Let me tell you why. Because when we are feeling burned out, it means we are at not bottom, but we're at a place where we know that we need to make a change. Oftentimes, when we're on that cycle of giving too much energy to someone or too much energy to our job, being a workaholic, whatever, we're so in the middle of it that we don't even notice it, right? But then when we hit this one wall that we're like, whoa, I don't want to do this anymore, all of a sudden we get it. Like we get that this needs to change. So I commend you if you are in that place right now. So it's actually a good thing. And when I've talked to clients in the past and I'm like, yay, the reality is that when you are at that breaking point, you're not going to break. You're actually in a really good place where you can make a beautiful transformation. And that's what we're going to work on today. So making that great transformation is what you are meant for. You are destined for in this very moment. Because when you are feeling at the end of your rope. So imagine that we're back in time before electricity and you needed light. And way back in time, in order to create a flame, you really needed to put some energy into it, rub two sticks together, and you needed to really maybe get a little sweat going and a little fatigue. But once you got the flame going, you felt so much better. So I want you to think about whatever you've been going through is rubbing the sticks together. And now you're feeling a little fatigued, but boom, the flame's going to be there. Because this is the spot where you see the light. You are now, right now, in this place where you absolutely can see the light. So let's just look at, say, for instance, the relationship example. If you feel like you've been hurt and neglected and betrayed, there's probably a lot of emotions going on with that relationship. But what I want you to do is just take one word. Let's just take betrayal. Sit the word betrayal in front of you. That's going to be what you work on. You're not going to work on betrayal in that relationship. It doesn't even matter if that relationship is still happening. I'm not even thinking about that relationship. We're focused on you right now, okay? And a lot of women have a hard time dissecting themselves from the issues that are around them. This is just about you. So take that word betrayal. What does betrayal mean to you? Have you ever betrayed anyone? Have other people betrayed you? Do you feel like this is just the way it is for you? You are someone that people betray you all of the time. Do you feel like in some way you deserve this? Do you feel like maybe you've betrayed other people and now what goes around comes around? Whatever you're feeling right now, in a really sick, twisted way, you think that you should own. I want you to take that word betrayal and imagine that it is a cloud. And you're holding that cloud in your hand. So your hands are going to be extended out and you're going to notice that it starts to get heavy. Your body is stressed, your mind is stressed. So your body is putting a lot of energy physically and emotionally into this betrayal or whatever the word is for you. And so I want you to bring your hands in and hold it close to you, right at the navel. And as you're holding it right at the navel, I want you to imagine that you're just breathing and that this cloud is lifting. And as it's lifting, you can visualize this cloud in front of you. And as you're focusing on breathing and releasing through your body, you are releasing all of the preconceived notions that you might have about that word. Now, you don't have to be very specific and you don't have to get every single one. So don't think like, oh, if I miss one, it's going to stay with me. You're just basically touching on a few different areas and just taking the word and thinking, you know what? I don't need to own this word. This word can go out and circulate. That's all you're doing. You're acknowledging the word. You're not pushing it away because by pushing it away, you're really bringing it back to yourself. So what you're just going to do is release the word. I want you just to imagine that you're letting it go and you're not owning it. So what would betrayal do if it didn't have to stick to you? It would go circulate. And I'm not saying that I want you to go throw it at someone else or that it should circulate somewhere else. Let it turn into a different energy. Let betrayal turn into forgiving. So just breathe into allowing it to not be something that you own. You don't have to own that. Now, as that starts to lift and it just starts to dissipate or in some way lift away from you, you are left with what? You're left with a little bit of a void. You're not left with peace, you're left with a void. So now you have to decide what is it that you want to bring towards you. And then I want you to think of what is the opposite of betrayal, for instance. The opposite of that might be trust. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I want you to breathe in trust, self-trust, trust towards humanity, trust towards the other person in your life. And if the other person in your life is generally a positive person and they might have betrayed you in some ways, think of what ways they have been trustworthy to you. And if not, think of someone else in your life. Think of how you have been trustworthy to yourself. So keep that breathing going. Now, as you go through this exercise, I want you to go through every single one of these different dynamics that you might be holding on to. But I stopped the video a little bit early just because I realized I started going into another exercise, and I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do too much too soon. So just work on 1 to 3 emotions that you're struggling with. Make sure that you focus on the opposite emotion. And even if it's just a wish or a desire, just still bring that to your mind, because whatever we put our mind into, whatever we bring to the forefront, tends to be what we attract and what we see in the world. So I want you to go ahead and do that. I have another video for you, and I would love for you to subscribe and ring the bell so that we can stay connected.